Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Monday, August 22nd. New news today from BuzzFeed, the internet website, about the Clinton Foundation's changes should Hillary Clinton be elected president. It was reported last week that Bill Clinton would step down from the foundation board, that they would no longer take contributions from foreign governments and corporations. But as suggested by that news last week, BuzzFeed reports that much deeper changes will be required. There will likely be a dramatic reduction in the global reach of the foundation's programs. Many of those programs, they say, are slated to be handed off to other charities with similar aims. Be a dramatic reduction in the foundation. Be a shame in a way if that work doesn't continue. The president, former president that is, says he hopes the work will continue. That includes in third world countries around the world. It's ironic perhaps that today Donald Trump in his latest campaign foray, it's to say the Clinton Foundation is corrupt and should be shut down immediately. Perhaps it will be more or less shut down because of Hillary Clinton's run for president. It'll be a shame in many respects. Of course, the Clinton campaign fired back that Donald Trump has a lot of answers that are not provided about the source of his financing from China and Russia and his ties to some not exactly reputable international leaders such as Vladimir Putin. Questions about his taxes, questions about his business enterprises, all cloaked completely in secrecy. Unlike the Clinton Foundation, a lot of the reporting about which is based on records that they've released themselves. It's interesting, too, that Connor Eldridge, a Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate today, released a new web video hammering on the issue of campaign finance accountability. John Bozeman, the Republican, has taken $3 million from PACs. He's opposed a change to do away with the Citizens United ruling that opened the door to corporate financing. He's also opposed a law that would require disclosure of where money comes from in some of these dark money campaigns. Connor Eldridge says he'd do something about all that. Republicans are not so worried about corruption in campaign finance. They're worried about people who give money to help people grow soybeans in Africa. That's the difference, I guess. Reporting over the weekend, we learned that a new pharmacy benefit manager who handles pharmacy claims for state employees changed July the 1st and didn't get off to a good start. They didn't pay the pharmacies in the state for prescriptions written for state employees for almost 2 weeks, maybe more than $2 million worth of bill not paid. They say they've gotten it fixed. They haven't exactly explained how this happened yet. Many questions yet to be answered. A Texas court ruled last night, I believe it was, that that the federal guidance on transgender people's use of school restrooms and other facilities should not be enforced while there's further consideration of a lawsuit challenging this rule as somehow illegal under Title IX. I would add that, of course, school districts are still able to have humane and equal treatment of all their students regardless of gender identity, but they just may not be required to do so by the federal government. This will be good news to Arkansas Republican politicians who've been fighting equal treatment for transgender people and have joined a similar lawsuit in another state in Nebraska. Speaking of schools, there's going to be filing beginning tomorrow in Pulaski County for the first school elections in the Pulaski County School District since 2010. When the district was taken over, it's going to be interesting to watch this. It'll be interesting to watch to see if special interests take an interest in these elections this year. Will the teachers union come back and back a slate of candidates as they've done in the past? Will the Walton money step in and try and elect their kind of people to the school board? They don't like the current superintendent of the district, Jerry Guest, because he hasn't gone in lockstep with their ideas on school reform. I think there's more news to come on that. If you have a chance, go to Arkansas Blog over the weekend and find the video we posted of a debate in Jonesboro between two candidates for State House of Representatives. One was Democrat Nate Looney, the other was incumbent Republican Brant Smith. Interesting discussion. Nate Looney pressed the need for pre-K education, for expansion of it, for how it reduces crime rates in years ahead for children who benefit from it. Brant Smith doesn't want any part of it. He says children ought to stay home. He said there's no proof that pre-K education does anybody any good. When Nate Looney said there's a study out of the University of Chicago that shows there is, Brant Smith said, what, trust something out of Chicago? Don't they have a Democratic mayor? So Brant Smith would dismiss the entire work of any institution in the city of Chicago because they have some Democrats up there. The message is, if you're poor, fix it, get rich, and then take care of yourself. The Republicans aren't going to provide you any help. And speaking of Republicans, up in Washington County late Friday, the County Election Commission there refused to set up an early voting site on the campus of the University of Arkansas to facilitate voting for some 30,000 people who pass through there every day. They said it was too expensive, not justified by figures. What they really mean is they don't want a lot of young people voting if they can help it, because they don't tend to vote Republican. This is one of only 2 schools in the Southeast Conference division in which Arkansas plays that does not have an early voting site. The other one's in Mississippi. So thank God for Mississippi, or we'd be solely in last place. And finally, also happened Friday after we recorded this program on Friday afternoon, a circuit court jury in Hot Springs acquitted Ray Naramore of a negligent homicide charge in the hot car death of his 18-month-old son Thomas in July of last year. I think we've said all that needs to be saying about this. I think the smartest thing that was said about this matter was said by a reader of the Arkansas blog, a former prosecutor himself, who tended to think Nate Naramore shouldn't have been convicted of a crime in this terrible thing that befell his family, but thought it was a proper decision for the prosecutor to send it to a jury, where a jury of peers made the decision, and nobody could say that he was favored by the justice system. He had a full trial and he was acquitted. He was found not guilty. It was not a happy day for anybody regardless, and it never will be for that family because of the loss of a son. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.